Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 86 of Petey's Awesome Guest Panel. And before we introduce tonight's iconic, legendary name, and that's not hyperbole, I really mean that. I want to introduce tonight's special guest co-host. First of all, working with me tonight will be Tiffany Giordano, Michelle Alvino, Darius Given, and Elias Pinas. It's good to see you guys.
It's good to see you too.
Good to see you, man.
Good to see you.
Now to introduce tonight's iconic guest star. This is, out of all the guest stars I've had, I can honestly say I've never been this nervous in my life having this man, because he's an all-time up and to legend. If that's not a word, then I just made that one up. My guest at this time is the star of Cheech and Chong himself, Mr. Tommy Chong. Tommy, welcome, sir. How are you today?
You're welcome. And who's Elias? I saw everybody but Elias.
Right here. Can you guys hear me?
No, there's Elias. Hey, what's up, man? Got an earphone on and everything.
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready.
Are you a disc jockey by trade or something?
No. This is just for the PlayStation. I just hooked it up to the laptop.
We're gonna dive into the questions right now, Mr. Chong. And the first question I have for you, and this is gonna be your typical cliche question, and that is, how did you get your first big break into acting and stand-up? Take us there.
I guess I was born to a mixed racial family, they might say, and very poor in the beginning, although I didn't know it. I thought we were rich. For my first break, really, I didn't know it was a break at the time. I was about, I guess, 7, 8 years old, and the only entertainment we had back in the day was Sunday school, and we lived in the country, so it was quite a hike to get there. And I got introduced to God, and we've been really close ever since. And like in all the holy books say, you know, ask and ye shall receive. And so I started, I guess my whole life has been ordained. So I guess the plan was there before I even got here. And so all I had to do was just hang on and go for the ride. And that's what I've done.
Beautiful answer, sir, and an inspirational one too. Elias, you had a question for Mr. Chong?
Yes, I did. Mr. Chong, question. Do you always want to become an actor?
Probably. I didn't know what I was, you know. I could do a lot of things, but only because other people ask me. You know, see, when you grow up in the country, it's not about, you know, having your own money or having your own anything. And what you did and we did in the country is help each other. And so my first job really was helping a fiddle player, because I knew enough guitar that I could back him up as you know, at dances and so on. And I was real early in my, you know, I was 8, 9 years old then when I started playing for like adult parties, you know, dances. And, you know, that really introduced me into that world at an age where we would, you know, at that age, other things got your attention, you know, like when I was playing the dances, they would offer me, you know, hey, give the kid a beer, you know, and I was too young, but they would change it to like a soda pop. And so I got introduced to, you know, like 7-Up or Coca-Cola, and that was my big treat, you know. And yeah, I was introduced into the adult world really, really, really early. But I came in as a kid that could do things, and you know, and then it just progressed after that. You know, other friends I knew that could sing and needed a guitar player, then I would be there. And one of them, thank God, all my partners were ambitious. And so next thing I know, I'm on stage playing with an Elvis impersonator. And that was my first taste of the stage. And once I got that taste, then that's what I did. You know, That's what I was known for. That's what I could make money doing, and that's what and I wasn't really interested in like pursuing being a guitar player because that was hard work, you know, playing for dances every night. So my I just attribute my whole attitude was having to do in order to survive, but having to have a pick of things to do based on my talent and charm. By the way, you know, when we moved into the city, I found out you can make money, you know, mowing lawns. And so I would go to door, and because I was a cute little brown guy in a white neighborhood, you know, I would get hired. And yeah, really, that was, I attribute poverty for my big success, because I learned if you're going to dream, might as well dream big, you know. And to me, helping other people turned out to be more important than how much I got paid for it, because I never really got into getting paid like serious money until Cheech and I made the record, you know, and then we started getting concert money, you know. But up until then, I money and I had an understanding, you know. I wouldn't worry about money, and money wouldn't worry about me. You know, it just appeared. Everything appeared when I needed it, and so that, you know, I know a lot of people say, you know, I studied acting, and you know, and I auditioned for this and auditioned for that, you know, and then finally I made it as an actor. Well, with me, it was like helping others and filling in too. You know, all of my jobs I ever got was my friend was leaving, and hey, do you want my job? And it was like, yeah, of course I do. You know, and I learned a lot of things doing that way. But I got to tell you, because my life was so ordained, I remember little bits and pieces where it changed for me. You know, like for instance, for some reason, I guess I was in my teens, and I picked up this book about Hollywood, and it was fascinating. You know, Hollywood just seemed so cool, such a cool place to be. You know, the nightclubs and the acting and the whole thing, and so in my mind, you know, because like I said earlier about prayer, ask and you shall receive. Well, it's not just asking for you know, food or a car or something, but ask for you know, an exciting life, and you shall receive. And but the rules are, you know, you got to make sure that you're nice to others. In other words, don't steal, don't cheat, don't rob, don't lie. I mean, if you, unless the circumstances, then it's not lying, it's exaggerating, you know.
I exaggerate.
But what I learned, see, in order to order is making it can be easy. You know, a lot of people will say, how is that? Well, you can win the lottery, for instance. But winning the lottery in the I Ching book of changes that I have, it's considered a misfortune, because we're like actors in a play, each of us, and we're all individual actors, and we all have our own individual play going on, but we're interacting like a play does. We got our characters, but we got all these other characters that we interact with, and that's what we do, you see. And depending on why you're here, what part are you playing, will determine your actions. And that's why you can't judge anybody, because everybody here really is playing a part that they actually was written for them, or they wrote it themselves in order to evolve as a human being, you know, as a person. And that's why we're here, to evolve. And so when you ask me, you know, was there a time? Yeah, there were various amounts of time, but the time that I count, you know, when you live in the country, you know, your biggest your most valuable property is? It's your friends. You count your wealth by how many friends that you have, because that really is true wealth, you know, a friend. And because friends are what helped me along the line. I wasn't a singer, yet you know, I got signed with Motown, you know, and I'm not a songwriter, but yet I had a hit record on, you know, on the black stations, and I really got accepted, not accepted, totally arms open into Motown, into the black world. Smokey Robinson and I, we kiss each other when we see each other. And I hardly know Smokey. I only met him a few times, but he was so impressed with what I brought to Motown, you know, and all I did really was follow the hot singer that was in the band that got the attention. You see, I was just a backup guitar player, but I wrote the song, and that was very important. I found out, of all the things I do, the one thing that I am is a writer. Now, I may not be the best, or no one is, but that's what I do. And so when people say to say to anybody, what do you do? Well, then think about it. It's what you have to do. It's not what you do, it's what you have to do. So I never really got into the business to be rich or famous even. I just wanted basically to get paid for doing something I really like doing, you know, because I've done a lot of things that I really didn't like to do, but I had to do because that's why I got a paycheck at the end of the week. That's why I did it, and that paycheck, you know, paid for useless shit usually. I don't need.
Yeah. The next question, Tiffany, you had a question for Mr. Chong.
Yes, Mr. Chong, do you have any methods or preparations you do for a specific role? And what is the process like when you get ready to film?
You know, my process has always been reading biographies. Read biographies. I just watched Robert Mitchum, story of Robert Mitchum, the actor. Oh, phenomenal. Charlie Chaplin, that was his biography that helped create Cheech and Chong, because I loved the fact that Charlie Chaplin was from a very, you know, quite wealthy family, and he was an accomplished musician. He was he could write. He's a classical trained musician, a violinist. Yet the character that he played was the lowest bum, homeless guy. He was a homeless guy. Charlie Chaplin was he made his whole thing being homeless. And when I saw that in the biography, and I saw the discrepancy between what he really was and what he did on the screen, it just says you can do anything. You want to be an actor? No problem. To be an actor. You want to be anything, a physicist, if you got the talent, then go for it. You know, some of us are neither. A lot of us, most of us, you know, we're just here almost, it feels like we're just filling in space, you know. But we're not, we're all evolving. We all have the same power. We use the same energy source. That's we all do. And so with me, when I, you know, like my comedy, for instance, for a long time, you know, after I made it as Cheech and Chong, a lot of my earlier fans and relatives even didn't recognize me. They never, because as a musician, you don't have to talk. And so I never hardly talked at all. And then I was in a black R&B band. And so you couldn't get a word in edgeways, even if you had something to say, you know, because the brothers are all performing the whole time. And so when people I ended up with a comedy record of all things, man.
Mhm.
It just floored a lot of people. They couldn't understand. My first wife, for instance, she literally booted me out of the house because I became a comedian. No, I mean, she
Really?
put up with so much, so that when that was the excuse that I kind of, we're still together, we're still very tight. I mean, yeah, we live very close to each other, and then my now wife, my mentor, my muse, my everything, Shelby, she really was responsible for me becoming successful. I was talented, but I wasn't successful until I met her. And wow, together, whew, and all I had to do was listen. That's all I had to do. I didn't have to do anything else. Just shut up and listen. And
Just
she just gave me little advice as we went. And next thing you know, here I am.
Awesome. Just
thank
awesome.
you.
Sir. And Michelle, you had a question?
Yes, hello, Mr. Chong. Uh, do you prefer headphones on or off during voiceover?
Oh, doing voiceover. Good question. Uh, on. I'm deaf as a fucking post, you know. So I I need all the help I can get. So yeah.
Cool.
When you get a certain age, you know, all that vanity shit goes out the window. You know, of being cool.
The only reason we asked that question, sir, is because like when I was watching an episode of auto commentary of The Simpsons, which you were on, and we're gonna get to later on about that episode
Okay.
you were in. Kurt Douglas one time said in an interview that he hated wearing headphones because it hurt his ears. That's why we just wanted to get your opinion on it.
Oh man, I need all the hearing help I can get. In fact, I've been doing movies. I've been movies with the earplug. And so I got the director off camera feeding me the lines, because that's the greatest invention ever, man. Because now you don't have to learn the script, you know, you read it. Oh, okay, it doesn't matter because you can get into character, and then you got someone in your ear telling you what to say. If and it works like a charm, you know. All the, you know, Jack Nicholson, Marlon Brando, all the actors, all the old guys, you know, we all use the earplug.
Darius, I know you were waiting to ask this question to Mr. Chong, so the floor is yours, Darius. Ask your question.
Yes, Mr. Chong, I heard that actually you have your own brand of CBD and you've actually been helping people. I heard it's been relieving people's aches, joint pains, and you've been working on it. And I've even seen reviews of it, and people seem to like it quite a bit. What'd you get started in that?
Well, you know, I got when I went to jail, and I was there 9 months. I came out. I hadn't smoked weed for 3 years. But as a result, that jail, which was built over a toxic waste dump, I got prostate cancer. And so then to cure my prostate cancer, I started, you know, doing the normal thing. But then after I got the operation and had to heal and had to say, not so much get off painkillers, but get away from painkillers. You know, yes. I started doing injectable. This friend of mine, he's a medic, come up with this injectable CBD. And so I was getting CBD injections in my butt for, I guess for about a month, every week for a month. And that really helped the healing. And because what happens with CBD or any kind of this product, in my estimation, in my opinion, it goes right to the brain. And the brain is the command center for your body. And so if your brain is calm, you see, the problem with us is that our body sends out fear signals, you know, fight or flight, I think is it's called. And when the body's in danger, it shuts, a lot of parts get shut down because they're expecting like something traumatic to happen to it. And that's why sometimes you get a shot of adrenaline, and so you got the superhuman strength to get you out of whatever problems that you might have. And the CBD calms the mind, the CBD and the THC, the cannabis product.
Absolutely.
It calms the mind to the point where the mind gets a little trippy, and the music
Have plenty
all of a sudden
experience with
becomes a
that.
little bit, and all of a sudden you see the people, they're in the room with you, But so the CBD, when I found that out, and then it was my brother's daughter's husband, Dave Epps from Calgary, Alberta. He hooked me up with the CBD company that they were looking. The scientists come up with this great CBD sleep aid and energy drink at the same time. An upper and a downer. So they wanted me to do the both, and so we do nice dreams for the sleep and the good vibes for the up to wake you up. And no, I've been doing the sleeping and having fun with it. You got to be careful with it because there are times when you should get out of bed.
Totally agree.
Quite a few times.
Totally agree.
And if you're having a nice sleep, sometimes you just don't want to leave that stage.
No.
Oh, absolutely not. No way.
The funny part was we're at a party and this friend who I've known for years, she come up, she was an actress. Oh God, I can't think of it. Child actress actually. But anyway, so she's known about me forever, and her mom was like super, super straight. And when I saw her at the party, and she had to come up and tell me. She goes, "You got to hear this." She's like, my mom calls me up. She says, "Have you heard of Tommy Chong?" to the daughter. And the daughter says, "Yeah, why?" She goes, "He's got the best sleep aid out ever. Oh, his product is so good. You got to try him." I'm telling all my friends, and we laugh because I'm the Tommy Chong that her mother didn't want her to see the movies, the records, and that stuff.
Oh, wow.
Mr. Chong, we're all big fans of the Cheech and Chong movies, the series, as all of us. And this is going to lead to my next question too. Memories of filming the first Cheech and Chong movies, which I believe was the 1978 Up in Smoke.
Yeah. What about it?
Memories of shooting the first.
Oh,
Cheech and Chong
memories.
movie.
Oh my God. We kind of messed up the movie industry with that one. And I'll tell you why. Again, it was never about movies, money, never about money. Cheech and I, our record career was through the roof, and we were about to do our third tour of Australia, which was a lot of work, because every tour you have to write a new show. And so, now we got a third show. Oh my God, another tour coming up, another show. And I was just aching to do a movie. I knew that there was a movie in front of us. I just knew instinctively. And so I insisted that, we don't go on tour, we're going to do a movie. And anyway, long story short, it ends up being Up in Smoke. But we never had a director. And we tried this one director, and he didn't work out. And finally, the producer of the movie said, he was the one that's arranging the financing, and he was our record manager, Lou Adler. He said, I'll direct it. So okay, so now we got our crew. And so I told Lou, that I had really admired Robert Altman, and I loved his style of filmmaking. And so I says, so Lou went out and got all the Robert Altman people. He tried to get Robert Altman, but Robert was doing another movie, and so we got all his crew. And so we had Lou Lombardo and the art department and everything else. And so now we're doing a movie. Now it's like an improvisational movie. There was no script. In fact, the first working title, Lou Adler wanted to be Cheech and Chong's Greatest Hits. So it didn't matter what we did; it would just be Cheech and Chong. But I wrote a song called Up in Smoke, and I played it for Cheech and Lou, and Cheech says, "That's the movie. That's the title of the movie." And so next thing you know, we're doing a stoner movie. And then with Cheech and I and Lou, Cheech's cousin, we wrote the first part about how we met. You know, the spoiled rich Jewish kid still living at home in his 40s, and his partner that he meets on the street, you know, on the road, actually, Cheech, a Chicano from East LA or somewhere in the east part of town, and but the thing was, because we never had a script, there was really no shoot. The shooting schedule went day by day, you know, and then we got an idea, okay, where we're headed for, and then we could plan more ahead after we got like almost through the movie. But oh man, we made that movie up as we went, and the good news, we shot it in less than a month. In less than a month, for less than. I think it was under $1 million for sure, under $1 million in less than a month, and we got the #1 grossing movie of the year. Blah blah blah.
That was
It was crazy.
That was a really good movie. And another one we absolutely love, and this is going to lead to the next question. Elias, care to do the honors?
Where is he?
You got to unmute yourself, Elias. You're on mute.
Sorry about that.
Of course.
Sorry. The next question, Mr. Chong. How did you feel about was it filming the sequel to Cheech and Chong?
The next one?
Yes.
Yeah, well, we called it Cheech and Chong's next movie. And because we had a dispute with Lou and Paramount. Well, not Paramount, but Lou for sure. And he owned the rights to the title, Up in Smoke. So we there was no way we could use smoke in the title without having to, you know, the threat of legal problems, you know, because Up in Smoke ended our thing with Lou Adler. And then after that, I was the director of all the other movies after that, even though one movie, Tom Albertson, was put in a director. That was because Cheech didn't want me to be the director anymore. And so we put Tom in there, and Things Are Tough All Over. But I forgot the question.
No, it was just if you have any memories from shooting that sequel.
Oh, next movie. Oh, next movie was so much fun, man. Oh, shit. Again, we did it the Tommy Chong style, because now I'm directing. and we did it the same way we did Up in Smoke. You know, wrote it as we went along. And you know, we each of us, you know, Cheech, you know, he added his thing, and I added my thing, and I come up with Cheech's cousin Red, you know, and that's when we started using Cheech's other talents and all the other characters that he could do. And oh man, that was such a fun movie. And and the other thing I learned was giving people a break, using the movie, because I was a first-time director and you know, brand new in the movie business. And so there was a nepotism kind of a law that I adhere to a little bit, you know, because I wanted to get my wife in the movie as soon as I could, without, you know, looking, you know, too favorable on the Chong side. And so I put Cheech's wife in first, Ricky. So Ricky's in next movie, and she's the rich girl that at the movie at the music store scene, and the scenes, you know, the giggling scene with Edie McClure, and that was Ricky. And then I got Shelby in the movies, and Shelby's been in all the movies since then, right up to the last one, which was really the Corsican Brothers, and that was a fun time.
Very cool, sir. Very cool. And we're on the subject of all the Cheech and Chong movies, so we have another question from Darius, who's going to discuss the next movie. Darius?
Sure. Actually, yes. I wanted to talk about how was it shooting Things Are Tough All Over?
Again, Things Are Tough All Over. That's where both Shelby and Ricky, my wife and Cheech's wife, played the Fifis, the Spanish, fake French girls that were messing with the Arabs characters that Cheech and I played. Habib, what was his name? Oh, I love that movie. We had so much fun with that movie. It's so woke and all that other shit, you're not supposed to do, but we did it all, man. Oh yeah. Simon, was that what he called himself, Cheech? The funniest scene in that movie was when the guy's doing his wig and Cheech was trying to say that he has his hairpiece as a wig, but with the accent it comes out of herpes. And he says, yes, I have herpes. I have herpes. And the guy's touching me, he pulls away, he goes, what? Yeah. Would you like my herpes? You can have my herpes. Oh man. We laugh, at least I laugh.
Oh man.
That herpes joke. Oh, we had so many funny things because we kind of did the movie like our records. We just forgot the camera was there. We just had so much fun. That was fun. And I had a double play, the other Arab, that character that I played, the one that got insulted if you offered him a Datsun or a Toyota, because he wanted his Rolls Royce or something. Yeah. Oh man.
Oh,
that movie. Cheech and I had a lot of fun with that movie. And a good friend of mine who died, the one that wrote Earache My Eye, that mama talking to me, trying to tell me how to live. He wrote the title track for Things Are Tough All Over. In fact, that's what he calls it, Things Are Tough All Over, and that's the opening track. It's a cool, very cool jazz tune. Next question.
yes, absolutely. And we're still on the subject of movie mania. So Michelle, take it away.
You got it. So we were wondering about your memories shooting the 1983 movie Cheech and Chong, Still Smoking.
Oh, still smoking. The
Love
guy
it.
that really inspired that was Eddie Murphy. I saw Eddie Murphy on TV. Was it last night? Or on the Zoom? I can't remember now. I got my iPad. And I can't remember if I saw it on TV or I saw it on my iPad. But anyway, I saw Eddie Murphy had a live record called Raw. And Paramount, right away, they said, we want to shoot a Cheech and Chong concert movie, Well, our concert movie really was, so I said, well, you can't do it on stage, because our bits are like up in smoke. You got to see it for real. Rather than just simulation on stage. And so I told Paramount, I had planned to do a Cheech and Chong film festival in Amsterdam, and I was working on that. I was working with people, and so I was in the middle of that when I got the offer to do. They wanted to do the concert movie, and so I said no. But I'll do that. I'll do the concert movie, but it'll be a real movie. It won't be just shooting a concert one night, or it'll be a shooting movie. And I'll use the same budget. It was like $1 million, and so we used the same budget, and we shot in Amsterdam, and that was another fun trip, because Amsterdam was just it was the pot capital of the world at the time. I mean, they had pot shops, you could buy hash, anything you want. And so, and then because we had the movie, we built a cannabis cafe on a barge in the middle of Amsterdam. And oh yeah, and when we left, the guy that owned the boat, the restaurant, he opened it up as a restaurant. He kept it going as a restaurant, even though it was just a prop. And oh man, yeah, there's so many so many fun things. Then we got the Dutch actors working with us, and we, Cheech and I both, we weren't that up on Europe in that sense, but the acting, the act over there, like when we did Corsican Brothers, we used all the French Europeans over there, way incredible actors. I mean, or movie makers. You want to make a movie for a dime, man, that's the place to go. Europe.
I gotta go to Europe one day. Elias, you had a question? Elias? Your question, sir?
I'm sorry. Okay. I guess the next question would be, memories shooting the 1985 live action movie Cheech and Chong, Get Out of My Room.
Oh, Get Out of My Room. That was actually Cheech's project. That was a video. Get out of my room and leave me alone. I don't have to grow up. I'm already grown. Yeah, I haven't heard that song for a while. Actually, that was a song that in a way started the breakup, I guess, because Cheech, he wanted to do videos, like that, like he did. But I became a movie snob, man. I was so much into movies that I was having too much fun. And so I told him, I said, well, hey, you got to direct this one yourself, dude, write it, direct it yourself. So he did. And it was pretty incredible what he came up with. Now, the only problem I had with Cheech is when I directed, he was the star. He had all the the comedy. He was definitely the main focus. But when he wrote anything, I wasn't even in it. In fact, I used to do a joke on stage about, went to the last Cheech and I didn't know we were broke up. I didn't know for 5 years, man, until I went to the last Cheech and Chong movie and I wasn't in it. So that was the well, everything has its beginning, it has its ending, and that's how it happens if you're around long enough.
Ah, okay. And out of all the Cheech and Chong movies that you've done, which was your favorite?
They all were, really.
Ah.
I think I'm the most proud, thanks to Quentin Tarantino. He liked the Corsican Brothers. He said, because it wasn't a stoner movie, but yet I nailed it. He said, this is his words,
So.
You nailed it. And so I would take that one as very proud, but every one of them had a thing, and it had its faults, mainly the storyline. See, that was always the problem with the old Bob Hope comedies and the other, who else? But well, like Martin and Lewis and all the comedians, you can only do the comedy act so long, and then it has a life. And Cheech and I, we extended that life a bit, but you can't extend it forever. And then Cheech went on to do his thing. I went on to do my thing. And we're still doing it.
Sweet, very cool. And next question we have for Mr. Chong. Michelle, you want to take this one, right?
Yeah. So we were wondering, do you seek out more of the stoner parts, or does the cast seek you out to play the part?
Well, in this business, after you've done a few things, no one seeks you out. So you just take what's given to you. And luckily, I scored. We both did. Cheech went on to have a great career with Don Johnson, being a cop. Cheech's dad was a cop, and even though he doesn't believe, but I got offered that job when Cheech got offered the Nash Bridges. I got offered it at the same time. However, I was in the middle of doing that '70s show, and so that '70s show was my, I call it finishing school. You know, I'd done everything, but I never really studied. I never went to school. And so when I was on the '70s show, I used to sit in the audience like a student and watch the director direct the cameras and the actors, and I was there, lucky to be there for the table reads and all that. So I really got an education on how to put all the parts together, to make that magic that ends up on the screen. In fact, I had a shot. I had my own sitcom. I was given, not offered, given a sitcom. See, my life, man, people give me things. The nightclubs that I had were given to me. I didn't make them. I didn't even look to rent them. They were said, listen, I got a nightclub I want to give to you. and everything that I had was like given to. Why? Because I had the product that they needed in order to make people come into that establishment. You see, and that was always been my ability, to reach stardom. Is to not set your sight, just do what you feel you need to do in your heart, and that's what I've done all my life, and I'm very grateful to it. I'm still, at that wonderment stage, like how did I get to where I am, Like I walk through my house sometimes, and I don't really own it. I feel like a stranger in it sometimes, like, because I've walked through many pathways and they weren't as nice as they are now. In fact, I had to stumble over things at times and be grateful that I got out of the cold. and now I'm in because life is from moment to moment, and that's what I learned, but I'm enjoying these moments.
Same here. I'm enjoying this moment. We're enjoying this moment right now, interviewing you, and you actually answered our question, because we were going to ask you next about your time on that '70s show as Leo.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, that '70s show was again. It was like, it was so beautiful because they didn't have to do a lot to give what they needed, and that's a grandpa role. That's what when I do cameos now, I tell people, they're getting older and the birthdays, and I say, rejoice. Man, there's so much joy being old. Oh, I mean, the status and the things you don't have to do. See, when you're young and healthy, you have to do all that heavy lifting, all that shit that needs to be pushed around and carried and brought in and cleaned up, and you need energy to do that shit, But when you get older, all you have to do really is find a nice soft place to sit down and just to wait and just watch the world go by and just enjoy every bit of it.
Totally agree, sir. Totally agree. And now you've also done, aside from doing live action and stand up, you've also done a lot of voiceover work for animation, and this is going to lead to our next question. Elias?
Oh yeah, Mr. Chong, what was it like when you did the voice in South Park?
South Park, oh man, that was such an honor. Isn't it? What an honor to be with those guys, man. To be recognized by South Park. It's like, it's better than winning the Academy Award, to tell you the truth, because South Park, they have to be the hippest guys on the planet. They really do. Their humor, I mean, their whole take, their everything, the art, everything about it. And so to be honored, because that's a big honor. We got honored by the Simpsons too, and so
Yes.
we got that honor too. Yeah, we got honored, and I met Gilbert. What's his name?
Gilbert
Furry Freak Brothers.
Oh.
The guy that created Furry Freak Brothers. I met him, one time, and he recognized me. And then we met Mike Judd. In fact, we were going to do a project with Mike Judd, but you know, we're just different folks. But you know, Beavis and Butthead, you know. So no, man, being in that world is such a what a beautiful honor.
And I was actually going to ask you next about that because the episode you worked on, the 2011 Simpson episode, which is a parody of the Cheech and Chong movie Nice Dream, which is called Midsummer Night's Dream. And I remember this episode very well, like where you and Cheech broke up and then you formed Cheech and Chong with Principal Skinner. And it's funny you mentioned the Beavis and Butthead thing because they did actually mention, because there was a line where Homer said, you know, Cheech and Chong are what we had back in the day. They were our Beavis and Butthead.
Yes.
Isn't that great? Isn't that great?
Absolutely.
You know, to tell you the truth, I don't think I've seen that. Well, it's the way you saw it. You know,
Yes.
it's funny. There's a lot of movies I've been in I haven't seen. You know, it's crazy because you're so close. You know, and I don't know. That's funny.
I'll send you a link to the episode when I get a hold of it, because I definitely have a link to it, so that way you can watch it too.
Perfect.
Also, we have a couple more questions before we wrap up.
Sure.
One of them is, do you prefer, because you've dabbled in everything, you ran the gamut with everything, voiceover, stand-up, you were a musician too, and also like all that. Like, which was your favorite to do out of all those things? And I was just curious to know.
Well, probably stand up, because that requires balls of steel, you know, and yeah, and then getting my wife to do stand up as well with me, beside me. I think that's my biggest thrill and my biggest accomplishment. You know, can you imagine? I pissed a lot of comedians off, you know, when I put my wife on stage with me, because a lot of them looking. Paul Reiser's wife, for sure, you know, she wasn't too thrilled, you know, because the wife usually, you know, for in most cases, you know, they take a secondary spot, you know, but my wife, because she was always ahead of the game, she was always my partner. She was always the one that well, you know, you're not going to wear that, are you? You know, that you know, that correction, you know, or cut your hair, or don't cut your hair. The first thing she said to me, don't cut your hair anymore, you know. And because at the time I had a Motown, you know, the slick back kind of do, you know, and she told me, no, don't cut your hair. And then we saw Jimi Hendrix in London, and we went to London all Motowned out, come back all Jimi Hendrix out, because we all had that hippie look. No, my wife is Shelby. She's the muse. She's more than 50% of my success. I got to tell you that.
Oh, that's cool. That's beautiful, sir. And,
That's awesome.
yeah, and Darius, one of your final questions for Mr. Chong?
Just like advice for just anyone who wants to do what you doing yourself, as far as just getting into acting or just in entertainment in general.
Realize who you are. Make sure that who you are is who you want to be. You know, be who you want to be, not just who you have to be. You know, and eventually, that's the song, man. I got to remember that shit. No, seriously. You another word that word. We're all here for a purpose, and that purpose is noble, no matter what you're doing. And most of us, a lot of us, don't know why we're here and have no idea, but we're all supporting, and we're all important, and we're all, every one of us, we all are so individual, because we've always been individual. You've always been you, I've always been me. Now we do different roles, like I've been in my life acting, but the core of our being is, we're so unique. There's no one like us ever in any universe. That's how unique we are. And why? Because we are energy, pure energy. And what creates energy? Positive and negative. That's why sometimes you're happy and sometimes you're not. Because it's going through you have both, and it's almost equal, positive and negative. And if you can put those together, you create energy in the right spot. That's why female and male, or the personalities are, and that's why a lot of times, like, I have to realize, my wife disagrees with me on everything, and then that's normal. That's normal.
It is.
And when you it's a realization that you have to have for yourself, that no matter what you're doing or where you are or what you are unique. There's no one else in the universes, in the whole spectrum, is that it can duplicate you. Just like there can be no snowflakes alike, no people are alike. And so we're all governed by the same law of decency, I call it. That's all. Just be decent and try not to lie, and have faith, no matter how seemingly hopeless any situation will be. Oh, and look at biographies. Robert Mitchum, man, I just watched Robert Mitchum's biography. Watch his. Oh my God.
We gotta watch that.
He was a kid. Check him out. He was a teenager in a Georgia chain gang. He'd run away from home. He got caught up in Georgia and ended up on a chain gang, which he escaped from because he developed a sore in his ankle from the chain. And so Robert Mitchum, check him out, man.
I love biographies.
We gotta check him out. I gotta check him out. And one of the last questions we have for you, Mr. Chong, Tiffany, you want to take this one?
What's next for Tommy Chong?
No, not that one. Tiff.
Oh, sorry. Do you prefer writing or producing, Mr. Chong?
Writing. I much prefer writing. I am a writer. I am a writer. Yeah. I realize that too, because I like when the press, talks to various people, they get different answers, and because our movie, we never had a director, and I thought about, but we did them. How did we get them done? And then they said, well, you never had a writer either. We never had a script. Gee. how did that movie happen? and so I'm not a writer in that sense, or I'm not a director in that sense, but I got it done. And here I am, like an actor. I'm not really an actor either. I didn't all of a sudden study it anywhere. I took a few classes of improv after I saw improv live, that Second City and that, like that. And so I fell in love with improvisational acting, and that works for everything. That works for life, music, everything.
Incredible.
Thank you.
The final question I have for you before we wrap up is, what is next? And this was going to be the final question. What's next for Tommy Chong? Now, Mr. Chong, this is the part of my show where, because my show is an open forum, you could talk about how you promote. You could talk about anything you want, uncensored, no filter. I'm passing the proverbial microphone onto you. The floor is yours, Mr. Chong.
What's next for Tommy Chong? Well, we've got a couple of projects lined up. There's a Cheech and Chong movie where Cheech and I meet after our characters meet after all these years, and we've all had different incredible lives. I think I'm a homeless guy living in a van. I haven't seen the script for a bit, but and Cheech just got out of jail, so we got that movie. on the horizon. We've got a documentary in the can that's already being sweetened with the movie, music, and everything else. Now, what I have, I've come to like a crossroads in my life. I started working on a sitcom, but and it got written and it got accepted by a production company. But then I had to pull the plug on it because they weren't. No one wanted to do my style of creating, which is very improvisational. And so I realized now that my style, in order to perform in the way I want to perform, I have to have total control. In other words, I have to have my own movie company, which I am going to put together. It's called Peace Pipe Pictures, and I've got these. See, the way the life is going, I've noticed over the years. I think Rocky, Stallone's movie, Rocky, when he got to Rocky 14, I said, you know what, this is going to be around for a while, and so that's really the serial thing, like they did with that 70s show. Now it's that 90s show. And what are the odds it'll be that 2000 show and that and on and on? Because what you're doing is you're communicating with the new audience that comes up, that age group. They get older and older, and so my Peace Pipe Pictures, what I want to do is create projects that help society, as opposed to just putting money in pockets of the theater owners or the movie makers or whoever makes those zillions of dollars. I want to see projects that deal with migration, because they talk about this, the political thing. They're always talking about the open borders, and you should send people back to where they came from and all that garbage, because the earth is where you migrate. That's why we have legs, and, that it helps us move around, and we migrate. And if there's no food over here, we go over there, wherever the food is and wherever the jobs are. And so what I want to do is my first movie, or one of the projects, is going to be, I want to hire all the people that migrated down from South America in that march that got stopped by Trump at the border, and where they separated the kids and all that. Now, what I want to do is I want to find every one of the marchers, and I want to bring them into the country as employees of Peace Pipe Pictures. And then once I get them in, we get the marchers in, we can create a movie world, which is basically a perfect world. If you notice, our everybody's a movie maker now. Everybody has a camera, and everybody takes movies, and so there's more movies than and you can manipulate them, but you can also show the truth, and it's much easier showing the truth because you don't have to manipulate. You just show what it is. And so that's really my aim, is to create an industry that, see, the trouble with our government now is that we have to vote every 4 years. And so we only get like a 2-year span where they're going to, well, even now, we don't even have that 2-year span where they're allowed to create. Now they're fighting the whole time, all the way up. But a movie company, see, we need that. It's a demagoguery kind of situation, but it's not done. It's done to help people. It's not done to hurt anybody. Like a movie company, for instance, the old days, cradle to grave. They took care of you from the cradle to grave. They had to, You know, when they got kids working in the movies, oh, they had to go to school. So they got schools for the kids. And people, you know, the workmen had to be in the unions. And so the movie company itself has created an ideal template for how to live our lives, and how to live without hurting anybody, and how to live without war, for sure.
Okay. And a couple of things before we conclude. First of all, a big send of thank yous. First of all, I want to thank you first, Mr. Chong, for not only this amazing interview, but making this 33-year-old fan and bringing, because you have this incredible gift where you can make a 30-something-year-old fan and make him feel like that 9-year-old watching Cheech and Chong again. So not only thank you for those memories you gave me as a kid, but thank you for the interview. I want to thank my the guest panel that I had tonight. Thank you for coming on, for each guest co-host. I also want to give a shout out and thank you to 3 gentlemen that helped make this happen. I'm going to call them Mr. Joyner, Mr. Rico, and Mr. Paul. I would also, as a personal request, Mr. Chong, because my parents and my sister are huge fans of yours, Peter, Sharon, and Elissa. Would you be able, if you can, sir, like, would you be able to shout them out?
Peter, Shannon, and
No, Sharon,
Peter, Sharon,
and
who?
Elissa,
And Elissa. Peter, Sharon, and Elissa. You guys sound like a singing group. Do they sing? You guys sing? Happy birthday?
We do, like, sometimes. And my dad absolutely loved the cameo you got for the birthday. He loved your cameo.
Oh, good. What's your dad? Who was it?
Pete Senior.
Oh, Pete Senior. How old is he? Was it a birthday shout out?
It was a birthday shout out. I'll send you that video. I'll send you that video. But again, thank you so much for coming
My pleasure.
on. And one last thing before we conclude, and I feel like you deserve this, and I waited a long time to do this, and that is thank you, Tommy. Thank you, Tommy. Thank you, Tommy. And you, and last thing before we conclude, you are the man. Say. Thank you, everybody. And thank you, Mr. Chong.
Thank you.
Everyone have an
Thank
awesome
you.
night. Thank you.
Awesome.